the Vikings trade Kevin O'Connell? Definitely not. But Nick Wright of Fox Sports had an interesting trade idea for the Vikings head coach that I want to dive into first. Then in the second half of today's show, we answer your questions about the Minnesota Vikings in a mailbag. Let's just start off with this ludicrous idea. You guys probably clicked on this video and be like, Patrick, what the hell are you talking about today? Well, Nick Wright, after the Bills ended up firing Sean McDermott, he suggested that the Buffalo Bills should call the Vikings about a Kevin O'Connell trade. And this was obviously before they hired Joe Brady, so assuming he changed his thoughts on that one. But kind of my thought on this was that nobody in media takes the Vikings seriously whatsoever. Like this team under the Kevin O'Connell era, like it has been successful. Like we have won 13 games, 14 games. Even in down years, it's 7-10, it's a 9-8. But nobody takes this team seriously. And I don't know why. I think it's just because of the brand of the Minnesota Vikings has, never won a Super Bowl. I think the Vikes are 0-4 in their last 4 appearances in the NFC Championship game, 0-4 in Super Bowls. Nobody takes this team seriously. Like, could you imagine if somebody else was like, oh, you know what? I think the Bills should call up the Packers about a Matt LaFleur trade. I think the Bills should call up the Bears about a Ben Johnson trade. Nobody would ever say that. Now, I don't know if this has carryover from, like, J.J. McCarthy or something like that. Now, I will say a Kevin O'Connell trade. If a team would call the Vikings and be like, hey, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Kevin O'Connell, I would consider it because then you would have an easy, like it's not like the Vikings don't have, like, an easy replacement option. It's like, okay, Flores, you become the head coach. Josh McCown, you're calling plays as offensive coordinator. For 2 first-round picks, I would consider it. Also, KOC, I think, is a little overrated. Still think he's a very good head coach. I just don't think he is like that offensive genius that other people think. But hey, if you guys could hit that subscribe button today, we'll dive into questions here in a second. But the offseason for the Vikes is going to be a lot of fun. We got the latest news, rumors, and reports, free agency coverage, draft content, trade buzz, all of it here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button today. Once you guys are subbed to the channel, give me those skulls down below. All right, Corey Miller, what's going on, man? As we dive into this mailbag, saying, do you think KOC would have a better chance of developing Anthony Richardson due to his better mechanics, as KOC seems to be better at fixing decisional errors more than mechanical? Great thought right there, Corey. It's a good question. I don't want to say he's better at that, but like that does make sense. Like if you've seen his track record of Sam Darnold, he shored up his decisional errors. And obviously with J.J. McCarthy, we haven't seen Kevin O'Connell fix up mechanical errors. But it's also not like Anthony Richardson's got great mechanics. I mean, they're definitely better than J.J. McCarthy. But yeah, I think you would have a better chance of developing Anthony Richardson. Like there was a reason, guys, that the Vikings back in 2023, they tried to send the farm to land Anthony Richardson in that draft class. So yeah, I think slightly. I don't think it would be like definite yes or no, but just slightly a better chance to develop Richardson over McCarthy. Big Diesel, what's going on? If none of your top 5 round 1 picks are available at 18, would you be okay if the Vikings trade back for Thieneman in the back of the first and added draft capital? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably an option we'll talk about on a mock draft coming up here. I love Thieneman as a prospect. I know a lot of Vikings fans do, and with Harrison Smith probably going to retire, they have a massive need at the safety position. So I could look at like I'll just say Jamad McCoy, Mansour Delane, Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love. If those 4 are off the board, yeah, I'd be willing to move back. Because listen, Kenyon Sadiq, I don't know if it's just this draft process is going on, and I'm like, do I really want to take him at 18? Like, even if the Vikings cut Hawk, like, I don't know if I really want to take Kenyon Sadiq at 18 because, listen, I think the tight end prospects last year, like Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren would obviously go ahead of him. I would even argue that Mason Taylor is on, like, the same tier of, like, tight end prospect as a Kenyon Sadiq. He's a freak athlete. I think he's a huge risk. Now, if you believe in Sadiq, I think you take him. But let's just say if McCoy, Delane, Styles, say those 3 aren't there and Jeremiah Love's not there, yeah, I'd be down to trade back and draft Dylan Thieneman at the end of the first. And plus the Vikings, like, you got to complete this roster. You need more guys in there. Yeah, adding more draft capital, 100%. Zach Gamian saying, how much do you think Harrison Smith retiring will affect our defense next year? And other than Downs, would you want to bring in at safety any free agents or trades? Good question. Yeah, I think our defense will take a step back. Even though Harrison Smith, like, I think the Lions game kind of fooled Vikings fans of how good Harrison Smith really was this past season. Like, during the Lions game, he was absolutely awesome. Like, that looked like prime Harrison Smith. But besides that, he wasn't too good last year. Like, if you guys could remember, he had a lot of bad games. Like the Commanders game, he was great too. But like the Lions game, if you take out the Lions and Commanders game, he really was just a below average safety. Like I would want the Vikings to draft a safety instead of going with the free agency market or the trade market. So watch out for a guy like we were just talking about, Dylan Thieneman. There's a guy out of Toledo, forget his name, Warren. He's pretty solid. I was looking into him. There's a Penn State safety you could take in the third round. Probably not going to trade for any safeties. You can maybe sign a guy. But I also think the Vikings are probably banking on a guy like Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus, those two taking steps up with Harrison Smith out of the fold. But they'll make a move at the safety position. I just don't know if it's, early on in the draft, free agency, or maybe later on in the draft. But, I think we'll miss Harrison Smith. I just don't think it will be as much. Like, it's not like we're losing prime Harrison Smith. We're losing 36-year-old Harry here. So I don't think it would be that big of a drop-off. But Reed Southern, what's going on, man? Saying, who do you think will 100% be cut this offseason? 100% be cut. I want to say Hawk, but I don't think that's 100%. 100%. I don't know if there are any 100%. If I had to go like most likely, starting at the top, I think T.J. Hawkinson would be number one. Give me like Ryan Kelly 2, Aaron Jones 3, and then like a Hargrave 4. I don't think there's any guarantees. If I had to put my money on one, though, it would probably be T.J. Hawkinson or Reed Southern. Appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoyed your birthday last week. Shout out to you. Now, if you guys are subscribed to the channel, just give me those skulls down below in the comments section. Want to see where all the real ones are at, and also want to make the comment section look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. So get those skulls down below in the comment section if you guys are a subscriber here to the channel. All right, we'll talk about some more questions you guys have here in a second. But let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, as PrizePicks. Now, the big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season outright with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you put your first $5. Now, PrizePicks allows you to find your community. With the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. You guys can also check out their new feature called Early Payouts, where let's just say your player gets off to a really hot start. You now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's edition of Vikings Now. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Jettis coming in with the next question. What's going on? Saying, I think we should sign Otten and Dean, both from Tampa Bay. I think we should take Katie McDonald, defensive tackle from Ohio State, and Thieneman in the second. I love McDonald. He is so physical and big. All right, first off with Cade Otten and Jamel Dean. If you cut Hawkinson, I'd be in on both of these guys. You probably should be able to clear up some money to get Jamel Dean. Jamel Dean will probably get $14 million per year. Cade Otten probably around 3 or 4. So I think the Vikings could make that work. Big fan of Cade Otten as well. I think he's one of the more underrated playmakers at the tight end position in the NFL. I will say it. Don't love what you're saying here on the second part. Cade McDonald, not the biggest fan of taking like an interior defensive lineman that doesn't have a lot of pass rush ability in the first round. Kind of reminds me of Tyleik Williams, who the Lions took last year. Where it's like, yeah, he's solid, but is that where you want to spend your first round pick on? Maybe he ends up developing into something better. Like Cade McDonald's a stud, big body, like you're saying, he is physical. But I would just rather have the Vikings go a different direction. But Thieneman in the second, you guys know how I feel about him. I think that should no doubt be the pick for the Vikings at that spot. Ryan Manley saying, do you think we're good at running back with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, or should we look at beefing it up on the draft? If you cut Aaron Jones, absolutely, and I think that's fully on the table. I don't think it's a guarantee that Aaron Jones is on this Vikings team next season. You are able to save about $8 million if you do cut him. You've taken him on about $5 million of dead cap, but it could be worth it to let go of Aaron Jones. And, these running backs in the NFL nowadays, they're all coming out and they're popping. I just think the Vikings need to get younger, more athletic at that spot. And, credit to Aaron Jones. Hey, great locker room guy. What he's done for the Vikings over the last 2 seasons has been great. But also I think Jordan Mason, get more carries for him. I still think Jordan Mason's one of the more underrated backs in the league. Lean into him more. He's a downhill power back. I think he can take on a bigger role. But then if you do let go of Aaron Jones, maybe go out there and sign a guy. Maybe you go all in and get like a Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker. But no doubt, definitely try to sign a guy or try to draft a guy maybe in day 3 of the NFL draft. Noah Carl saying, as a Hoosiers fan, I think Surratt has a very high floor. Agreed. Also, D'Angelo Pons is definitely a first-round talent, but his size is holding him back. If he was 5'11", he would easily go first round. Totally agree with both these. Elijah Surratt is one of my favorite wide receivers in this year's draft. His floor is incredibly high. If the Vikings did not have Jordan Addison, I would be absolutely pounding the table for the Vikings to take him in the second round because I think he's about the same as Jordan Addison. I think Elijah Surratt is going to be probably the best wide receiver in this year's class. I fully stand by that. I think he has a chance to be better than Tyson. I think he's got a chance to be better than Carnell Tate. I think he is that good. And also the same can be said about D'Angelo Pons. I just think this is one of these things we don't overthink it with these Indiana Hoosier prospects where it's yes, these guys have been doubted. They've been ruled out their entire collegiate career, but they ran through college football. It wasn't just because of Mendoza. It wasn't just because of Curt Cignetti. They had dogs on that entire team. And you look at a guy like C.J. West, defensive tackle for the Niners, who went to Indiana. He had a great rookie year. I think Cignetti's got a great eye for talent, and these guys have been translating. Pons, if you could get him in the second round, add to that cornerback room, yeah. Vikings took either of those 2 guys, Noah Carl, I'd be all in. Z Cool saying, why do so many Vikings fans lose faith after the team struggles? To me, a true fan is a true fan regardless of the struggle. Z Cool, you're my guy. Kind of disagree with you on this. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if fans lose faith after the team struggles. Because, you get new information, you get new takes. That's why I think it's kind of ridiculous. And I see the comments on every other, YouTuber out there where they're saying you flip-flop on your takes so much. You thought this of McCarthy. Now you think this of McCarthy. You thought this of Kevin O'Connell. Now you think this of Kevin O'Connell. It's we get more data. You see the team play and they look horrible. You're not going to feel the same as you did before that game began. So I don't know why Vikings fans especially lose a lot of faith, but I'm sure they're just tired of being mediocre, tired of the 9-8 seasons. Sometimes fans, I think, want to bottom out and get that high draft pick. So you get all that hope in the offseason instead of just being in the middle of the pack where we are right now. It's just we're kind of just waiting for next season. Raiders fans throw a party every offseason. They enjoy that. There is some I don't think always as an NFL team, they get the same cut out of all the money that the NFL makes every single season. I think sometimes NFL teams are more, I don't want to say willing to go 3-14 over 9-8, but it's the team that goes 3-14, their offseason is going to be a lot more entertaining for the fan base compared to this Vikings team who went 9-8. All right, you have the 18th pick, not a lot of money to spend in free agency. You already kind of have some stability in the organization, so there's not a lot of turnover. I'm sure some NFL teams are our fan base is going to eat up free agency, the draft, and all these different segments of the Raiders offseason. So, yeah, I hear you. Even if you get down on the team, I still think that makes you a fan, though. Just coming in with $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Trade Brosmer and Felton for Jarrett Stidham. Nah, I'm good. I want to trade Ty Felton for Jarrett Stidham. I think Stidham is, he had his chance. I thought he lost in that game. I know a lot of people are getting on Sean Payton. Sean Payton, for right reason, was a complete bonehead in that game, going for it on 4th down. But Jarrett Stidham lost him the game with that turnover. Again, that was in the AFC title game in terrible conditions. He's probably a really good backup quarterback. But I'd rather just keep Ty Felton on the team instead of trading him for Jarrett Stidham. Now, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Just hit me with the real one down below in the comment section, and we'll get on out of here. As always, just go Vikes.